Welcome to Geeks Corner. I'm Mr. Daps.
I'm Katie.
And this is the first rainy Wednesday of March 2025.
What a weird bunch of signifiers.
I don't know. It's been raining pretty good today, so
Yeah.
and I can hear it, so why not? I thought it was a good one.
Sure.
It is been a very busy week since we were last in the corner. We have had Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival.
Mm-hmm.
We have had Disneyland After Dark, Nite's Night. We're going to talk about both of these tonight. But before we do that, there's something very important we need to talk about.
Thanks, Daddy. Mr. Daps. Thank you, Mr. Daps. Thanks, man.
That is what we need to talk about. And I've made it so it goes back to the us instead of having to push a button.
You're so smart.
We're moving up every week. It's getting better
You're
and better.
So smart guy.
All right, so last week we got a new Muppet being recognized, honored, not thrown into a fire or beaten up or run over or ground up or exploded or I can't think of anything else right now. None of those things happened to Beaker last week.
Poor little guy.
All that happened to Beaker is he was recognized as the Muppet of the Week as the Muppets celebrate their 70th anniversary by honoring 70 of their closest friends that are also Muppets. Did anybody guess the Beaker last week? I'm just curious about that.
What if I threw something at you? No, like, I'm just curious about that. What if, let's play like physics, right? Like, what if I threw something at you?
It would hurt.
Aw, would it?
I think so.
Put a
All right.
seed, though.
So what we need to do though is decide who is going to be the Muppet that's honored this week. I see an Uncle Deadly.
Lips.
I see a Sweetums.
Sure.
And Clocky says he's sticking with Sweetums until he's right.
Fair.
That's a good way to play it.
It's fair.
I should do that with Eugene, but I just don't think they're going to pick Eugene. Do you think they're going to pick Eugene? That's the real question.
If they pick Eugene, I will go get a Muppets tattoo.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll do it. Not last week. 2 weeks ago. That was Katie. I know.
2 weeks ago.
Okay, so stay out of this. That's actually so crazy. Like, hey, so that's crazy that you'd
So
be
who
like.
do you think it's this week?
I literally already said lips.
Oh, okay.
So clearly you don't
Lips.
listen. You clearly don't listen when I talk.
That's it.
Actually insane. I will be louder until you listen.
Okay. And we can't do anything about it because we don't have a sound tech.
Yeah.
I don't know who I want to go with.
Yeah, who do you want to go with? Since you're always right. What? I just got an
Eyebrow.
No, not an eyebrow. That is not what I got. I got one eye slightly closed. Like a...
I don't know how to do that, actually.
Yeah, but you did it.
Oh,
you
weird.
did it. It's like when your nostrils frail.
Flare?
Leave me out. Oh, so you know that word too. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Mr. Deps. I know words.
Words are good.
That's actually so crazy.
Did they do Zoot already?
I don't know. But
I kind of liked your whole, like...
You know that, like, you have this thing in front of you. I know you're looking for Muppet inspiration behind you, but...
I know, but I don't think it's any of these.
I saw lips on the front, so...
Oh, is that how you picked?
Yeah.
They did do Janice. I remember that.
They've done Scooter.
Uh-huh. Did they do Dr. Teeth?
Have they
Dr.
done
Teeth would be fun.
Oh, Yolanda, it is International Women's Month. Oh. Wait. Hold on.
Are you switching? I could do Dr. Teeth, and you could do...
I'm unpicking lips. I need to pick a woman.
By lips.
Oh my God.
So you're going to pick a woman every week this month?
Yeah, hold on.
That actually is probably smart if they've thought of that.
I'm Googling women Muppets. Do Muppets have a gender?
Yeah.
Oh, they do?
Well, some of them do.
Women Muppets. Recurring female Muppets. Perfect. This is exactly what I was looking for. Not Denise. I am not picking Denise.
But it could be Denise. I was actually having that in the back of my head last week after the show. I was like, what about Denise? Miss Piggy would make sense. And it would make sense if it was this week because it's the first week. Because you couldn't put her on the second, third, or fourth week because she would be offended.
I am going to say This is difficult. I'm going to say Beverly Plume.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
And I have one in my pocket for
Next week. Cool.
Will I forget by then? Absolutely. I will 100% have forgotten by then. But that's kind of like their charm.
You could schedule an email to yourself for next Tuesday night, but actually it won't be next week unless we do one on the Dapsies. I don't know. The Dapsies will be next week though, so we'll see.
Who's Spamela?
Is that another pig?
Yeah.
What does it look like? I'm assuming it's from the Muppet Show. I don't remember. All right.
I'm trying.
We have had
Spamela Hamderson.
There we go.
Yeah, it's a Baywatch type thing.
That sounds like Muppets Tonight then.
Muppets Tonight.
There you go.
You're so right.
Which I didn't get to watch that as much because it was on the Disney Channel and we didn't have the Disney Channel, so I was kind of out of luck.
Of Pigs Watch.
Somebody wrote it. That's good. That's good.
Somebody wrote it and somebody watched it.
All right. We went on Friday to Disney California Adventure, where we experienced the first day of the Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival, and it was a very busy day. We started the day listening to the sensational singers sing Skyfall.
You know.
And
to be fair, it was super windy and things were falling on me. The sky kind of was falling.
yes, but what other interesting songs?
What was the one? Well, Ain't No Mountain High. That's like
that was
normal.
the one I was thinking of.
But that's like Guardians. Guardians was right there. Sure.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Like totally get that. I'm trying to think
that
of.
might be the only one that had a remote Disney connection.
I'm trying to think of the one that I was like, besides Skyfall. What was the first one they did?
I don't remember.
They almost accidentally sang it twice. It was when they were going to do Ain't No Mountain High Enough.
Uh-huh.
And he did the
wrong start.
Well, no, he keyed them in wrong.
Oh,
and then he led them in, and one of the girls goes,
"That's not the right one."
Yeah.
That's funny.
And then they had to start over because they were repeating whatever their second song was. I can't remember at the moment. But anyway, it was weird. I liked them, though. They're very talented.
That intro was for Ain't No Mountain High Enough, though, was what the song ended up being.
Yes.
That was the misstart, because I remember editing that out.
Yes.
Anyway, they were very good. They were very funny. I just was like, I don't see any Disney connection here. It was very fun, though. So the way they did it this year for the media preview part, last year, the media event part, like where they actually brief us and share information, was at the end of the day, and it was cold, it was windy also, and for the most part everybody showed up for 5-10 minutes, watched the presentation, and left. And which is great because that means we got more food and like there was no lines. It was really fun, and we got to talk with really cool people like Chef Jimmy. Amazing.
Love that guy.
We even got to talk with him on Friday. But the downside of it is we walked into it already full because we've been reviewing food all day, and it was kind of one of those things. Disney, being Disney, took all the feedback from last year and was like, hey, let's do it at the beginning of the day. Hey, let's give them more information, and let's organize it that there's different stations you go to for a 10-minute, I think it was,
Something like that.
presentation at each of 7, one of them being meeting a rat, either Emile or Remy, which is still funny to me, but...
And you had to get it hole punched at each station.
Yes, and then once you've done that, you could go to pick up your swag, which was a baseball hat, a plate, and a Sip and Savor pass. And the plate is what Magic Key holders get when they purchase a Sip and Savor pass. But what was your favorite... Actually, tell us what the 7 were, if you can remember.
Okay.
So it's the character meet and greet.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
Let me go around.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Character meet and greet was 1. So it was either Remy or Emile. Then there was a cooking demonstration.
4.
Of the... I was getting there. Of the birria mac and cheese. So that was super fun. And I was also like... What shocked me is, like the water's already boiling and stuff, but like making that dish it was about 7 minutes. I was like...
And talking through it the whole time.
Whole time.
It was impressive.
Like blending the salsa, all that. Super cool. one over from that Crown and Hops?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One over from that was Crown and Hops. They have craft beer. It is a Black-owned, women-owned, veteran-owned business, which was super rad. And I saw their beer in Total Wine yesterday. 2 days ago, whatever day that was.
Cool.
Then one down from them was Bodkin Wines, which was, I will be getting into that later. One of my absolute favorites. The originator of sparkling Sauvignon Blanc in America. Next, so that we're at 3 right now? No, that was 4.
That's 4.
Okay. So 5 was the merchandise for food and wine.
Yep.
I'm really good at this, by the way.
You're doing great.
6, I'm nailing this. 6 was the food that is available for the Food and Wine Festival.
Including a big fish.
Including a whole fish with the bones and the eyeballs and everything.
So now it's 2 festivals in a row you can get a big fish.
And where you can get some of that with a chef available to talk about it. And then the last one...
It was Chef Lewis, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And the last one was a pastry demonstration with... it was the Sioux pastry chef, Stephanie. She was making a Snickers... The macaron that everybody loves.
Mickey Mouse one.
The Mickey Mouse Snickers macaron presented by Mars. And I will say a really fun connection is that pastry chef Stephanie and my sister went to the same culinary school in Pasadena that no longer exists.
That is true. Favorite one?
Oh, Bodkin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why?
He was a very nice and personable guy. He had a very interesting story about his family and really what kind of drives his passion. And like stories are great. Stories are fun. The wine was actually very good.
Yeah. No, it was a home run all the way around. I thought he did a great job. I would either pick that or the mac and cheese demonstration because that one was so it really made the line anyone can cook come to life because you watched him do it and you're like, oh yeah, I could do that. And you could see other people going like, oh yeah, I could do that. Like nothing in it was super hard. And he gave a couple tips, which you hear on the Food Network all the time. It's like, give a couple tips as you're walking through what you're doing and why. Salt your water and don't over process your avocado and veggie or and herbs because they'll turn brown. Like there was good stuff. Put the lime in with your avocado.
Also, what really did it for Mr. Daps and what's really gotten me into trouble is that he had the basket that you can put your pot in your pot so that you can just dump the noodles in. It's like a colander.
It's a pasta basket.
Is that what it's officially called?
It's a mesh pasta basket and they're on Amazon.
Yeah, so see how I just said that this is what's gotten me into trouble? Is that ever since we watched that, Mr. Daps has been like, we need...
Yeah, I've been researching them a lot.
Pasta basket.
So we went to all 7 of those locations. Then we got our Sip and Savor.
We did our homework.
Pass. We did eat the beer and mac and cheese, the
Spam Masubi fried rice.
Yep, which spam.
Let's go,
and
baby.
And then also we had the I don't remember what it's called.
The corn chip pie.
Yes, the corn chip pie, which is in a chip bag.
Yeah, it's what I think is really funny is they do the chopped thing of they're like, it is a corn chip thing. It's in a Fritos bag.
Yeah,
it's a bag of Fritos.
Flat out.
There's no covering the brand.
Then we went to the park and we started trying more foods because we just didn't have enough with those 3. We tried a bunch of foods. What is a standout to you that's maybe not your favorite, but one, if you could have it right now, right here on the set, you would like to try again or eat again?
Café de olla tres leches.
Oh, okay.
It was
you want dessert?
It was super, super yummy.
Okay.
I would eat, and I said this in my article because I did say it to a chef, which, leave me out of this. I did say that I would eat it by the bucket because I love that Spam Masubi fried rice just so much. But if we're going dessert, which I'm in a little desserty mood right now, a little sweet treat, that tres leches cake. I love tres leches.
Very good. All right. And I would get the sirloin chimichurri mac and
shocked.
cheese. It was delicious. I would eat it every day if I could during the festival, but that might not work out so well for me. Anyway, we've got lots of coverage going up about the Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival up on dapsmagic.com, including some videos, and we've got more videos coming throughout the month because honestly, we all know what the real highlight of the festival is, and that is the return of Soarin' Over California. But that's not what we're going to talk about right now. Instead, we are going to play a surprise game of Not So Magical Markup with its new opener.
That was so good. Dapsy.
Once in a while. All right. Last night was the first of 2 Disneyland After Dark Nighties Nite, and the moment we saw this come to life, we knew that this was going to be something special.
We knew it would be a Not So Magical Markup.
We knew, yes. So, this is what we're talking about. This is the Powerline Max. It's not technically a popcorn bucket. They're calling it just a bucket, but it's a popcorn bucket. In the park, you can mobile order it. In fact, I think it's pretty much the only way you can mobile order it during Disneyland After Dark Nighties Nite. So just tomorrow night, $32.49, and I think there's tax and whatever, so it makes it about $35. This is pretty impressive, I think. Like, as I saw this in person last night, and I will admit, I went and checked this morning, and it was already on eBay.
Of course.
And as the day has gone by, it's more places on eBay.
No way.
Shocking, I know. So, what is the markup? Because you can't go by the bidding war, because that could go anywhere, and none of the bids were going to be done in time. So I want to know from you, and I want to know from whoever's watching, what you think the Not So Magical Markup is for the Powerline Max
$72
bucket. And I will say this also, just to keep it interesting. This might get eclipsed by the bid. I almost guarantee it's going to be eclipsed by the bids.
Oh, by the bids. I thought you said by the bit.
No, the bids were changing all day, and this is also sudden death. So there's only one round of the Not So Magical Markup tonight.
$72.
$72. Okay.
I'm going to keep saying $72.
$72.
If one of you says 71, you're dead to me.
Okay, we got 108
Okay.
from Bailey.
We can work with 108.
We can work with 108. I think people on eBay are hoping to work with 108.
Oh, that makes me nervous. Oh my God, this makes me nervous.
So you said 72.
I said 72.
72.
That is the number that I saw come to me in a vision.
110.
Okay. 95.
95 from
Okay.
Roger. That's good. Okay, this is gonna be good.
Get in your bids.
Should we say the actual?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Tiana,
Okay.
Tiana, what do you think? Tiana, tell them.
What does she think?
That's what she thinks.
Okay.
She sniffed the microphone.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's was that $1? Does that mean $1?
Yeah, she said
By
$1.
Price is Right
Yeah,
rules?
she said $1.
All right.
One sniff.
Are we ready? So what I did to
know.
find this, and this is not the way I normally do. Normally I pick the first one that I see.
Okay.
But all of those didn't actually have a markup. It was just bid
Oh,
only.
okay.
So I went for the first one that had the markup, just so we're keeping things fair and above balance. So are we ready?
Sure.
The actual markup price for this Powerline Max bucket is $250. And this one actually had lower bids than others that were on eBay. And this was, I think, so I redid this graphic like 4 times, and this was just the last one at 7:00. But yeah, so there were bids already in the $200 range when I was looking. The interesting thing is the day started with just one of these up, and I was like, oh, the game might not work because it's bid only. And then by late this afternoon, there was a bunch of them. It was fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was just one of the many offerings at Disneyland After Dark 90s Night, and we experienced a lot of things, which were a lot of characters, a lot of entertainment. We did not try the foods. We did not buy the merchandise. I did see it, though. What was your absolute favorite thing of last night at Disneyland After Dark?
90s on Parade.
And why?
It was so good. It was such a fun blast from the past. You also got to see fun remnants of other things in entertainment that you love, like the bikes from Viva Navidad, the
gazelles. There were some great costumes in there.
Sensational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
There is stuff from Sensational, stuff you might have recognized from Parade of Dreams. There was stuff from Hercules. There was well, I guess the ones that were recognized was Lion King, Aladdin, Hercules, or Mulan, and then Hercules. They were like the 4 main sections, and it was hands down the best part of the night. Like, I thought it was their best offering, and you could tell that they'd really put some love and care into it, and it really was the finest tribute to the 90s of the night as well.
Also, we have not seen a parade stop like that since Parade of Dreams.
I wouldn't put it on par with Parade of Dreams, but yeah.
We haven't seen a show stop.
They did one for one of the other Disneyland After Darks, because I was in the wrong place last year.
10-minute show stop?
Maybe not quite that long, but it was...
I was like very shocked by how extensive the actual...
which they kind of need to do, because otherwise the music would have been almost impossible to put together. And then it was all held together as they were moving along by a song from Tokyo Disneyland. I think it was...
Oh.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And... but it was good. Like, it was a really good offering. There's a couple things to know. If you are going tomorrow night, you're going to want to go over to the Fantasyland Theater promptly at 6:30, maybe even a little bit before, because they give out wristbands that, unless you go back there, you don't know, that give you access to go into one of 2 tracks. One track takes you into a line for Huey, Dewey, and Louie. The other track takes you into a line for Darkwing Duck. And...
you have to pick which one?
Or whatever one you can get.
Fair.
By the time I got there was nothing. But in my incredible luckiness, I guess, like, I happened to walk to the wrong way, and they're like, well, go stand over there and maybe you'll get in and you can wander around. And then another lady's like, no, that's not going to work. And then a manager came by and she's like, I think it was 8 extra wristbands for the 8 o'clock set, which was in like 10 minutes. And we had a few people with us, so we used 4 of those. And so because of that, we were able to go meet Darkwing Duck, which was cool, and then also Launchpad and Scrooge McDuck, and everybody gets to meet them. That's like the second stop. But it's like Darkwing's out for a while, and then the line turns into Huey, Dewey, and Louie for a while, and then Launchpad and Scrooge are out all night. Like, they just keep coming back and forth and they don't go anywhere. But it was one of those things that if you knew it, it was probably okay, but if you didn't know it, it probably wasn't. And I feel like people that have gone to more Disneyland After Dark events probably had some clue of like, oh, they might do something early back at Fantasyland Theater, but you wouldn't have known about the wristbands or anything like that. They also cut them off you, which was interesting when you got up to the part of the line. And I think it was to avoid like people getting back in line or whatever. I don't know. It was very interesting. They also had what was it? The Rad Review. That was
at Pirates.
That was some 90s and 2000s songs that were sung, and
this is my fault.
But it's true. Like, it was a fair observation. Is it wasn't all 90s music that was performed last night.
The issue was, if the way I have said this story to multiple people, and they've been like, "What on earth is wrong with you?" The problem is they played Yeah by Usher. I knew for a fact that was not a 90s song. I knew for a fact that was an early 2000s song because Yeah by Usher, not 90s. If you had played anything else off of Confessions, I would have been like, okay, maybe this could be 90s because it has that 90s R&B feel. They then played Hella Good by No Doubt. I would not have questioned it before they played Yeah. But after they played Yeah by Usher, I went, Hella Good by No Doubt?
And really, like, the thing is with all of this is they bumped all the way up to 2004 or 6.
With Vanessa Carlton.
So there was a bunch of stuff. But there's a ton of good music from the 90s. So I just think there was a lot of stuff that they could have done to keep it in, like, play within the rules, like, or within the sandbox or whatever. They had a bunch of good characters out there. We've got those going up on our YouTube channel. Bless you. The other highlight, I think, of the night was over in Tomorrowland with Goofy and Powerline Max, or Max, depending on what he was wearing at any given moment. They did a fantastic job, I felt like, with keeping that area exciting and fun and letting everybody see Max, let everybody see Powerline Max, letting everybody see Goofy, and really giving the opportunity to not miss out, I guess. Like, I think they're too popular for a meet and greet, which we learned the last time for a 90s night, and this was a good way to let everybody experience it.
I think it was significantly better than people waiting potentially hours. We would have had another wristband scenario.
Probably. Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's better than people waiting hours. And then what happened at the 2019 90s night was that people waited 3-4 hours, basically the entire event. And they were like, I want to meet Powerline Max. And then they got up to the front of the line and it was Goofy. And I can only imagine how sad Goofy felt. First, his son doesn't want to go on a road trip with him. Now guests don't want to meet him.
Roger makes an interesting point. He says music from the 90s is also from the early 2000s, according to radio people, but not him.
So I think, so this is something we talked about in the car. I think 80s music transfers into 90s music because there's absolutely music that I just don't think you can go retroactively. I think you can carry music into a new decade. I don't think you can carry music backwards into a decade. So to me, early 2000s music is not 90s, but late 80s music can feel a little 90s because of the
and
shift.
I think you should just play it by the years and actually pick. There is so much music released every year. Like, just, you got it. What, 1990 to 1999? Do it.
Share with me your complaint.
Or you could do 91 through 2000. Like, I'd be okay with that too.
Mr. Dapp's complaint last night was that he heard no 90s country.
There was no 90s country. There was no of, like, the big stuff. I was in high school in the 90s, and, like, most of the songs that were popular during that time, I did not hear.
Can I have one complaint? One song I would have liked to hear.
Sure.
Gotta Party Like It's 1999.
Yes. I mean, and honestly, if they played Class of 1999, that would have been hilarious. Now that we're speaking about that.
Especially if that was the walkout music, because Party Over, we're out of time.
But also think of how many iconic Disney pop songs came out in the 90s. Like, Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast. A Whole New World. God Help the Outcast. I guess not count. They did do...
for the one thing from
yeah
I can't.
But Reflection, I guess, is where I was going from Mulan.
Reflection.
Like, there's a lot of good songs that you could pull from the 90s, and or instead of doing pop music, do 90s Disney music. Like, I'll Make a Man Out of You.
Yeah.
I can't wait to be king.
Yeah.
One Jump. You know, like,
we could have had so much more Aladdin.
I bet you could do. I mean, you could easily get the hour playlist out of just Disney music and Disney Channel music. You could probably also get the entire event without a repeat of good Disney songs for the whole event. Anyway, that was just my minor, like, my critique was just kind of like, I think you can do this. Like, I think it's part of the creative challenge of making something like this is if it's 90s night, make it 90s night. Welcome to Geeks Corner Plus. If you have any questions or comments that you'd like us to respond to, let us know in the comments and we will hit those. And for now, we're going to keep talking about Disneyland After Dark. So my question is, I feel like for me, 90s night this time was kind of somewhere in the middle of Disneyland After Darks, whereas the one 6 years ago
Mm-hmm.
was probably towards the top.
Mm-hmm.
What is now your favorite Disneyland After Dark?
80s Night.
80s Night. Okay.
Which February of 2020. That we had a great lineup that year. Actually, we had Princess Night in January. We had Sweethearts Night in February. We had 80s Night in late February.
But what made 80s Night so great?
80s Night was so fun because there was this really cool vibe about it. That was great. Videopolis.
That was solid.
Killer. Mm-hmm. The Ewoks were so good. I think just the photo ops, like,
in some ways, that was the one where Star Wars felt the most
Star Wars
fan
is the
Star
80s.
Wars. Yeah, like it really was that. Yep.
Because Star Wars nights are super fun, but when you're embracing, a lot of Star Wars is contextual. Like, you cannot ignore what was happening when these Star Wars movies came out. And so having Star Wars with 80s Night was just so fun because it was like, oh, this is Star Wars. This is Empire Strikes Back.
And Star Tours, and like they had a lot of fun
God,
stuff.
that's where DJ Rex was?
Yep, that was really cool.
It was a good event.
No, I thought that one was really good. And I think the very first one was easily the best one. Like, that one is never going to be... I'm sorry, it was.
I had a work party, okay?
I couldn't get anybody to go with me, so I went on my own.
I would have been there. What
was that, Retro Night? Was that what they called it?
Throwback Night.
Throwback Night. I was like, I don't even remember the name of it. I just remember...
Where there was Zorro.
It wasn't Zorro. It was Zorro. Mickey Mouse as Zorro.
Mouse. I thought it was goofy.
Like, no, it was great. They had the 3 fairies, and they had fireworks, and they had the
blue fairy.
And the lines were non-existent. Like, it was just it was one of those things where I think they really wanted to make sure it worked, so they went all out for it, and they under-promised and over-delivered, and they didn't have too many people in the park, and it was fantastic. I will say, the Disneyland After Darks, they are more popular now. People are figuring out how to do them. If you're going to go, make sure you have a plan. Make sure you have these are my top 3 or 4 things I really want to do, because you're probably really only going to get to do, if you're actually like
fully
lining
committed.
up and fully committed to doing them, 4 or 5 things tops.
Yeah.
There is no way to go and meet every character and get to eat. Like, we don't eat any of the food just because the time itself is prohibitive. We don't do the merchandise because we heard from friends last night that the line was an hour and a half. Like, that's just the commitment you make because that's whatever is important to you. And if you're gonna mobile order, or you're gonna get food during one of these events, you need to mobile order earlier in the day probably, because that's what everybody else is doing as well. I personally would not let them do that if I were in charge. Like, I think you make the game completely fair for the new people and the people that know. Like, I think that would be helpful. But what do I know? I'm just...
You're just a guy with a web show.
Apps. But we are running out of time, Katie. What should people do?
You should go to dapsmagic.com, check out all the Disney and geek news as it happens, subscribe to our mailing list, and Tiana said to find our Patreon at patreon.com/dapsmagic. This is my spokeswoman, so I just woke her up from a nap so she could plug Patreon. So do it for her.
She looks a little tired. Also, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got a ton of videos going up. More of them from Disneyland After Dark, Star Wars Night. More coming from Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival. And some other stuff that we've had in the archives that we just haven't had time to get up. So we will get those up soon as well. And then we got Season of the Force coming. Then we've got 70th of Disneyland coming. Like, it's going to be a busy year. But that is all the time we have for you this week. So we will see you round the corner.
Bye.